Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. Again at this location by the sea, a beautiful view. Now in this one we're going to be talking about things that you do that make the narcissist go crazy. And to begin with this, I mean, it's really like, think about how they make us go crazy. They distort everything, gaslight. It's all just about emotions, invalidation. That makes us lose our minds. Because we're normal, we're sane, rational. They're not. And that's how you should know that by being logical, rational, grounded in truth, that is what makes them lose their minds. When you just know who you are, when you're living in reality. But yeah, we're going to be getting into 3 specific things that, yes, will make the narcissist lose their minds. But I already know what many of you are thinking. They've already lost their minds. They're already losing it. And that's because many of you, you're holding on to your truth. You're holding on to your reality. You're thinking, hold on a minute. That doesn't make any sense. That's not true. You did say that. You did do that. But now you're lying. You're gaslighting. You're acting like you never said or did those things. So you're holding on to your truth. You're holding on to your reality. And yes, doing these things makes them lose their minds. So let's get into number 1. Do not react emotionally. These people, they have very deep-seated insecurities, unresolved childhood trauma. They can't cope with reality, with the truth of who they actually are, never mind the delusion. And this is why they need your emotional reactions, your emotional validation, to support their false narrative, to validate this illusion, this fantasy world that they've created in their minds. It's not self-sustaining because it's not real, and deep down they know they're not worthy of it. So the entitlement, the arrogance is not real. They know they don't deserve it. That's how they can't validate it themselves in their minds, and that's how they can't create, manifest anything, because they haven't done the work, they haven't got the skills. That's why they need your emotions, your validation. They've got to pull you onto the same wavelength, onto the same frequency, and get your agreeance. And often they do that by being oppositional to anything that you stand for, no matter what it may be. Your truth, the facts, logic, they have to go against all of that. Because it exposes them. It brings up their insecurities. And that's why they're so heavily dependent on your emotions to validate them, to validate this false narrative that they've created. And that's why they've got to bring in all of their enablers, their flying monkeys. All of these people are crazy. All of these people have lost their minds. They're all delusional. Because you are you, and you know the work that you put in for this narcissist and how much you try to help them, save them, change them. And you remember how little they did for you. But for them, it's all their emotions. They have been projecting things onto you, blaming you, accusing you, just to save themselves. Throwing you under the bus, betraying you, acting like you did that to them, playing the victim, garnering sympathy and support from other people, because they can't get that from you anymore. And this is it. You've got to be careful when you do stop giving them your emotions. Because yes, they will try and get that from someone else. They may resort to playing the victim, smearing your name. Not just for attention, but also it's an effort to punish you, to make you pay for holding them off, for not going along with it. So yeah, do not react emotionally. Stay calm, short, and unbothered. because they want you to get emotional. People who are delusional, people who are crazy. If any of us who went into a psych ward, that's what we would see. It would be a pattern among all of them. Same thing if you go into a prison. They all want you to get emotional. They want you to get worked up. They want to get a rise out of you. They want to make you insecure. They all share the same minds. They all do exact same things. For us, it's more about logic, reason, facts. That's what we like to talk about. You can't talk about that with them. They will gaslight you. They will deny it. They will shift the blame onto you. And they will try and destabilize you by gaslighting you, making you think you're losing your mind, provoke fear into you, insecurity. So you get all emotional, and they even get you to engage in reactive abuse so they can point the finger at you and say that you are the one who is emotionally unstable. You are the one who is delusional. Because really they know that that's them, it's a projection, and they know that it's bad. They know that it's wrong. That's why they try and create these opportunities where they can call you that, because they know that it's them. They know they're living in a fantasy. They know that you are the one living in logic and reason. They know they are the ones with the problem. That's why they create this fantasy world. That's why they run these smear campaigns, to get all of this emotional validation. There's no discussion about what actually happened, the evidence. And no one comes to talk to you about it because this is all going on in their minds. It's not how reality is, it's how they want it to be, whatever serves them, whatever makes them feel better. So yeah, you cut off your emotions, they will go crazy, they will lose their minds, because they need that emotional validation, especially from you. Because they know the horrible things they did to you. They know what they put you through. So of course they've got to get that from you. Because they're feeling insecure, they're feeling invalidated. And they will try and get that in any possible way that they can. They will do anything to get that out of you. Love bombing, devaluation, smearing you, triangulation. They have all sorts of tactics. Denial, projection, blame shifting, gaslighting. They will try all sorts of things to just get you on the same wavelength, get you agreeing with them. And if none of it works, they will just take their mask off and intimidate you. And just make you feel like, yeah, they got you. They cornered you. They were the most powerful when really they weren't. It was all magic tricks, smoke and mirrors, illusions. That doesn't make you powerful. That makes you a coward. And this is it, it's because deep down they feel powerless, helpless. And yet they want to be the ones in charge, in control. It's all nonsense. But yeah, that's the first one. Do not react emotionally. And also, don't fall for the invalidation, the gaslighting. Just you even opening your mouth sometimes. You can't even say a word without them saying, why are you so sensitive? Why are you getting worked up? Why are you so emotional? Because they just want you to zip it. They want you to stay quiet. You can't even talk. You can't even speak without them acting like you're crazy. You're over emotional. Well, as for them, they can blow up. They can have these tantrums. They can do some really crazy extreme things. They can get violent. And in their minds, they're not emotional. They're fine. You ask them, why are you angry? And they could be huffing and puffing, steam coming out of their ears. I'm not angry, is what they will say. Because they're completely delusional. They can't even see themselves. So of course they can't see you. And that's what this is all about, this connection, this association. This is what your emotional reactions help them do. Number 2, set one clear boundary and enforce it every time. Now I know how difficult it is to set boundaries with narcissists. Or should I say, it's difficult getting them to not cross those boundaries. Setting the boundary may not be the most difficult part. So let's just say one boundary. You set one boundary, you say no to one thing. And every time they try and cross that boundary, you enforce it. And you enforce it with consequences. That could be something so simple as you taking yourself away from them. So you leave the house, you go and stay with your parents or a friend. So you're taking your presence, your validation away from them. They lose it. It will make them go crazy. It will make them lose their minds. They will try and agitate you in some sort of way. So they may go somewhere. They may go out late at night. They may have someone else over the house. And this is all to get to you, to punish you, to make you feel like what you did is wrong and how it justifies them doing what they're doing. Really, this is just them losing their minds. It's destabilizing them because you are a source of security and stability for them. So that's why they try and do that. But this is what you need to do. You've got to set these boundaries. You've got to enforce them. This is about protecting you. After everything you've been through, after all of the things that they've done to you, it has to be about you now. How are you going to protect and preserve yourself so that you can rebuild, you can grow? But they're not going to like it. They will likely lose their minds, especially if they've been so used to it for a very long time. You know, typically it's human nature when someone is getting something and they've had it for such a long time, and then all of a sudden you start saying no. It really hits at their sense of entitlement. They start to feel like, why can't they get this from you anymore? Especially with narcissists, you know, how they're thinking is they expect to get more and more. And it just ends up draining you. You just can't keep doing it anymore. So eventually you really have no choice but to set that boundary, but to enforce those consequences. And of course, when you do, they don't like it. They lose their minds. They go crazy. But yeah, if you want to see a narcissist go crazy, that's all you got to do. Just say no. They're not going to like it because in their minds, they're gods, they're kings. They're really arrogant and delusional. They really believe that they deserve uninterrupted access to you, control, dominance over your life. And they really believe that they're a good fit for that because they're believing in their own mask, their own illusions, their own lies. And they're not seeing all the damage that they're causing to you, all of the problems. They're not even thinking about that. All they care about is what they're getting, how you're serving them, you being their source of supply. You may notice that, yes, there is a network of gang stalkers in the live chats. They are part of a network, a system, and I am taking them all out. We need to have some order on this channel. This is about what I want to talk about. It's not about degrading, degenerative things. But of course, this is what these people do. And this is why the world is the way that it is today. Number 3, to make the narcissist go crazy, cut off their supply. You ever notice how sometimes the narcissist is so calm, cool, collected? Especially after they've abused you, gotten the reaction out of you. It's just like what I was talking about at the beginning of this video, just 10 minutes ago. They need your emotional validation to validate this fantasy world, this delusion that they've created in their minds. They need your emotions to validate it. And this is why they need that supply. This is why they want to get you to engage in reactive abuse. And everywhere I'm looking now, they're doing the phone thing. It's to try and take my attention off of you because they don't want people to know about this. Because yeah, there's a lot of thieves, there's a lot of narcissists around you. We're conning people. That's not really my interest or concern. It's got nothing to do with me whatsoever. But these people are coming to me. So that's why I'm talking about it. Because I'm being stalked right now. But yeah, if you cut off the supply, you cut off the fuel, the validation that they need, you mute them, you block them, and you just go and live your best life loudly, that will drive them crazier than anything. Because they want to keep you trapped, confined, restricted, locked away where they can just use you as they like. That's how they want you to be. They don't want you to be free. They don't want you to live your life. They want to have you locked up in their dungeon. And whenever they need you, they unlock the door and then they use you, and that's that. That's all. And that's your purpose. That's your life. That's how they expect things to be. And that's why they can't stand it. When you cut off their supply, you take away the validation, your emotions, and you just go and you focus on you. You focus on your growth, on thriving. Because they are the ones who need you. You never needed them. You fell for the mask. You really thought this person was loyal, committed, about something, a relationship, building a future. They were never about that. They were never interested in doing that. And that's how it's such a problem for you to even take some time to yourself, not focus on them even for a second. Honestly, if someone is really about a relationship, a future, growing together, they're not going to mind you taking time to yourself. The narcissist, they literally want to dominate you, control you. They want to be you. And anything that is connected to you, they want to gain full control over it. This is why they smear you. They try and turn your friends and family against you, get you fired from your job, take away your independence, everything. Because they want to be your gods. And that's really what this is about. You know, it's really spiritual. They want to be gods. They want to be anything and everything. All powerful, all knowing. That's what they're trying to be, and it's corruption. It's like the all-seeing eye. It has nothing to do with freedom. It has nothing to do with growth. And any time that you demonstrate that, your independence, anytime you demonstrate anything to do with growth, health, progress, it's going to threaten them, it's going to drive them crazy, and they're going to try and figure out, you know what? What do I have to do? What do I have to orchestrate? What stimulus do I need to get you back into this box? Because that's where they want to keep you. And not with your best interest in mind. They're not trying to preserve you. They're trying to consume you. And that's all that it is. So yeah, these are the three things that will make the narcissist go crazy. When you don't react emotionally. When you set one clear boundary and enforce it every time. And when you cut off their supply. Let me know if you've got anything else to add. I mean, of course, these are just three things. And honestly, I could do a video with 1,000 things that will drive the narcissist crazy. I mean, pretty much anything to do with you as a person rather than a toy, an object, a plaything, something they could just fiddle around with, molest. Now I'm getting the stare down from this weirdo as well, and laughter. It's creepy, but anything to distract. You may notice it's a common thing here. Whenever they see me recording, they're always trying to get my attention. Normally, people who aren't gang stalkers, that's the last thing they would ever do. And that's so you know that they are gang stalkers. But yeah, let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know if you've got anything else to add. I'd like to hear from you down below. And give it a thumbs up. Let's make sure we get this out there. Because I know a lot of you, you're dealing with these controlling narcissists. You've got them in your home. It could be your partner, it could be a parent, a co-worker, a boss. And yeah, it's a real problem, you know. They're driving you crazy. And yet they seem so calm, so confident. That's because they've got you as their slave, their servant, their provider. You're the only reason they feel calm. If you weren't there, if you weren't giving them your validation, a sense of control, superiority, they wouldn't feel so good about themselves. But yeah, let's talk about it down below. Any questions? I'm just admiring the sea here. Green sea. I can't see any fish in there today though. Yesterday there were some small fish swimming by. Nanami Wu asks, why is your name Narc? Is it Narc like narcissistic or Narc as in a snitch? I'm just curious, new viewer on your channel. Well, of course, you know, since I've got over 5,000 videos, in the title it says narcissist. That's probably a good sign that it is short for narcissist. Steady Pace says, NS, they're trying to rain on your parades. A lot of people want to rain on my parades, but this is a fire that they will never be able to put out. Blessed Butterfly asks, how do I get my voice back? I know exactly what you mean. You know, as I mentioned in this video, it gets to a point where you just become mute. You can't even speak anymore. You can't express yourself. You can't even smile. If you smile, they look at you like, what are you smiling about? You just can't even move a muscle by the end of it. Because of course, that's what narcissists do. They consume, they conquer. So what you do is you kind of want to create your own false self and give that to them. You can be the zombie around them, but then you have some time to yourself outside the home where you can just laugh and joke freely and be passionate, self-expressive. You don't ever share that with them because it will be invalidated. They want domination, control over you like a puppet. So they're never going to support your freedom of expression, your creativity. That's something you've got to do by yourself. So take steps slowly. Start a new hobby, a new interest. Go hiking. Do some painting, some art. Of course, you've got to be very careful because, like I said, anything you do, anything you get involved in, I mean, it reminds me of what Michelle Neve said on one of her videos. She said she would wait for the narcissist to go outside the house just so she could read a book. And then she was hypersensitive to the car coming down the drive, the keys going in the door. And then she had to hide the book under her pillow like it was her lover. This is what it's like. It's just such control, such domination with them, invalidation. Lorraine Diane says they want you mute and servile. That's it, they just want you completely quiet and just complying, just obeying with their demands, conforming. Never mind about your own identity, your own life. That has to go. You have to be subservient to them now because in their minds, they are gods, they are the ultimate authority, and their delusion. Max Muster says, can you explain to me what happened to me as I couldn't breathe for 6 months properly? I'm not exaggerating. I completely understand, this abuse, it targets your throat chakra. It may tighten your throat, your chest. It creates anxiety. You may be hyperventilating, having panic attacks. This is all normal when you're going through narcissistic abuse, because they constrain you, constrict you, like a snake wrapping itself around you. That's exactly how it feels. You're suffocated. They're always over your shoulder. You can't ever be yourself. You can't ever do what you want to do. So of course you're going to feel anxious. Of course you're going to feel suffocated. It's like you're imprisoned, because they want to dominate you, control you. They don't want you to have any autonomy. It's coercive control. They want to be a master. And they want you to be their puppet. It makes them feel powerful. So, yeah, it's completely normal and natural for you to be experiencing that. And what I recommend for you, I'm not a doctor, but in my own experience, my lifetime of experience, and in my research over the past 8 years, I advise for you to very slowly and gradually practice deep breathing. Because of course, it may have had some effect on your throat, on your lungs. They may not be as strong as they used to be with all of this pressure and anxiety. So start very slowly, just breathe in and out, even for just a couple of seconds. Ease into it. Do not go straight into advanced breathing exercises where you're breathing in for 8 seconds, holding for 8, breathing out for 6. That could just make things worse. So take it slowly, gradually. And there's one technique you can use where you breathe in through one nostril, and then you hold it and you breathe out through the other one. You do it on both nostrils, and especially getting out into nature, breathing in some fresh air. It can be very healing. And what else? Mindfulness. Just being aware of your surroundings. Focus on tuning in. This is very important, because when you're around the narcissist, you're tuning into emotions, trauma, whatever they're trying to direct you to. You become dissociated. So I could just sit right here and observe my surroundings. I can focus on what is the color of the sea? What is the color of the sky? And just focus on the different shades. And then I can focus on other senses. My sense of smell. Or I can eat something and focus on the taste. Is it sweet? Is it salty? And then there's touch. Getting a massage can be very helpful. This is calming your nervous system. It's bringing you back into reality. So you're no longer dissociating. Of course, when you do this, you want to be in a calm environment away from the narcissist, because otherwise it could be even more traumatic, even more shocking. And typically it's going to be quite traumatic anyway. You coming back into reality. You may find that it's more shocking to your system than it was going through the abuse and being under the narcissist's control, because it became normalized to you. It became your new normal. You got used to it. So there is a lot of shock, a lot of pain, coming out of that world and coming back into reality. But it is worth it to go through the healing process. And honestly, it's a very beautiful thing. When you regain that sensitivity, coming out of zombie mode with the narcissist, had to laugh. And just, seeing the colors again, getting in touch with these sensations. It just feels so beautiful to be alive again. After being imprisoned, it's like now you're finally free. Take it slowly. It's kind of like going swimming in the sea. Put one foot in first, slowly lower your leg in, and then the next foot, it might be a bit cold. You don't want to jump in too quickly. It might shock you quite a bit. It's the same thing coming out of a narcissistic relationship. Take it slow. If you take it too quickly, it can be more traumatic. And then it may feel uncomfortable. You may just want to go back into your shell. And of course, that's not what we want. We want you to come out to experience this beautiful world. God created this for us. So, take it slowly, gently, calmly go through the healing process. Blessed Butterfly says it's sad when you hear them pulling into the driveway and your heart jumps. This is completely normal. You may find that you're constantly in a state of confusion, panic, overstimulation, hyper-awareness. Your eyes constantly widen, very high heart rates, maybe high blood pressure, low blood pressure. You're just always in a state of hyper-alertness, panic. And you're hypersensitive to little things that other people don't pick up on. The car coming down the driveway, the keys going into the door. These are all very commonly known symptoms of narcissistic abuse. They are. And yeah, you've got to retrain your nervous system. You've got to rewire your brain. It takes months, even years of work. Don't focus on the end goal. It's not all about becoming perfectly healed. That's never going to happen for anyone. This is a journey, and it is a lifelong journey. Kind of ambushed here. I can't get out of here now. Got all of these people around me. I'm going to come back over here. Wherever I go, they follow. But yeah, this is a lifelong journey. It will take time. And you've got to remember that person who you were, being around the narcissist, that is not you. Who you are is not when you're constantly in reaction to an abuser, to being harassed. That's not you. That's what they want you to think you are. So remind yourself of that. Relieve the guilt, relieve the obligation, the shame, and focus on calming yourself down. Because what they want to do is they want to poke at you, destabilize you, and make you think that that's who you are now. No, it's not. Who you are is not when you're hyper alert, hypersensitive, hyper obligated, in a state of panic. That's not you. That was never you. You were a very calm, peaceful person before. You weren't traumatized. But this is what they do to you. If anything, it's more a reflection of them because you're constantly around them. And that's just it, Put any of us around whatever type of people they may be, whatever they're involved in, whether it's homeless, alcoholics, drug addicts, a group of millionaires, after a certain amount of time, we're going to adapt to that environment and become more like our surroundings. So who you become when you're around a narcissist, that's more a reflection of them. It's got nothing to do with you. It's just that they view you as an extension of them, and they're constantly discerning these parts of themselves and assigning it to you. They're delusional. But just because they're delusional, it doesn't mean we have to be delusional too. Steady Pace says, narcs want to mute you. That's exactly what they want to do. They want you to be silent. If there's one thing that every sick, disgusting abuser wants, They want a code of silence. You're trying to speak up about something, you're trying to call it out, they want you to keep quiet. And this is how you know exactly what you're dealing with. Everything they did to you, everything you went through, they didn't want you to talk about it. But this is what we have to do. And that's why, there's many trolls, many gang stalkers targeting this community. They want you all to keep quiet, to not talk about it. But this is it. We have to accept the trauma. We have to accept what is going on, what has happened, so that we can change it. This is where it begins. And anyone who is bringing up these things, talking about it, talking about what's been happening, this is good. It's not bad. They want to shut you down. They want you to be quiet because they want to prolong it. They want it to continue. We have to talk about it. You don't have to be silent anymore. And that's a big part of what I do in my coaching sessions. It's talk therapy. You can express everything and you will have a listening ear. I do not judge my clients. I do not criticize them. I listen to what they have to say, and then I give guidance. And just that alone, being heard, it can be very helpful, very healing. And yeah, if you'd like to book with me, just go to my website. It's narcsurvivor.co.uk. And I also post daily blog posts on there as well. And another thing they like to do is they always act like, why are you still talking about it? Why are you going on about it? Why didn't you just move on? This is the thing. They want you to move on while it is still going on, while they're still doing it, while they're still pulling you into it. How can you move on? You see how it's a complete delusion, complete gaslighting? They're still doing it to you. How are you meant to move on then? It's got to stop first. But this is what they're like. They just always point the finger at you. It's always your fault. You move on in your own time. It's different for different people. And it depends on how extreme the narcissist was. Whether they were malignant, a sociopath, a psychopath, and how long the relationship was. And also, it depends on you as an individual and the support you had. So you take your time in moving on, in healing. And I can tell you, from my past relationships with narcissists, it took me years. It took me years to move on. And even now, I'm still not completely healed. I'm still experiencing all sorts of things. I'm not perfect. And I don't think I will ever completely heal from this. This will be a lifelong journey for me. I'm never going to be perfect. I'm always going to have some trauma. I'm always going to have some symptoms. And that's okay. As long as you can get yourself to the point where it doesn't dominate your life anymore, you can still live without it controlling you. Because this is it, you never move on from it completely. It's always going to have some effect on you. And that's how you know that you're really healing. Unlike the narcissist who's just in complete denial, as though they've never been through anything, as though they've never done anything. That is not reality. It's fake, delusion, a performance. We're always going to have some pain. And that's okay. It is a part of who we are in some ways, in a positive way. We overcame it. We got through it. That took strength, discipline. So let's celebrate that. But 40 minutes of spitting this truth. think I've earned an opportunity to sit down now. Mad Max 92 says, I've been targeted since 2019. Wow, that's 6 years. It's a long time. I am putting out more and more gang stalking content every week, just to raise people's awareness. And it's just about getting you to focus back on yourself, because even when you're analyzing it through logic, you're still focusing more on you rather than them. Your focus is on them when you are emotional. So these videos do not help you to be further trauma bonded to these people, because it's more logical. But also as well, you know, you do have to sever the tie. And one of the best ways to do that is to experience the emotion again in a controlled environment. So either way, it still aids you. Keep educating yourself, keep watching these videos. It's one of the best things you can do. And I know that from my own experience. I watched these videos for many years and made many videos of my own, and from 2022, 2023, I had over a 1 year period with mild gang stalking, where I didn't have to deal with trauma bonding, I didn't have to worry about anyone, and I never felt so free, I never felt so at peace. It was amazing. I didn't need anyone, I didn't need anything, and it was just such a good experience. And that's just it, you know, they make it all about, oh, you wish you were one of us, you wish you were in our group, you wish you could come to these parties, be with these girls. The best part for me, doing that very, very mild gang stalking, it was pretty much non-existent. The best part for me was being in the middle of nowhere, on a beach where no one was there. That's what I enjoyed most. Because that's what really counts, that's what really matters. Mad Max 92 says, dudes, you effing kick ass. Thank you. Yes, these narc asses are going to be very red and sore by the time I'm done with them. Blessed Butterfly says, bilateral exercises help too. I'm not familiar with that. What is bilateral exercises? I know lateral is more in a horizontal direction, but I don't know much about it. But of course, I do recommend exercise, a good clean diet. I promote a vegan diet. Of course, that's up to you. But that's what's worked for me. And also, you know, to have that compassion towards animals. That's really what frees you, is having compassion. Even having compassion for the narcissist. As long as you're holding on, being bitter and resentful, you're just carrying on the work for them. You're further reinforcing it, imprisoning yourself. Of course, take it slowly. This takes time. Go through the process. First, you're going to feel maybe shameful. You may feel inadequate. But then when you wake up and you remember, you realize your worth, you're going to get angry. You're going to be like, I can't believe they did that to me. I was worth something. I did so much for them. That's wrong. That's unfair. And then you may go through this process of feeling prideful. You know, it's almost like a pride to it. It's like, I can't believe they did it to me. And then after you move on, you go through acceptance. You know, this is how the world is. There are people like this out there. I was vulnerable. And then you go into love. You become compassionate. You recognize these people had some issues of their own, childhood trauma. And you can have compassion for that child who is innocent, who didn't ask for any of that, and who then became the narcissist. You can have some compassion for them. And I do believe that that is a part of the healing journey. It's more at the end of it. At this point, it's second nature for me. You know, I vibrate at the frequency of love. I can be compassionate for everyone. I get it. This is what it's all about. This is our awakening, our spiritual awakening. None of these people ask for any of this. None of them asked to have a disorder. Yes, they may have made choices in their lives, but of course they were further inclined to make those choices as a result of what they experienced in childhood. And there's a very high possibility that if those things did not happen to them as children, they wouldn't have turned out that way. So we are all to blame. We are all to blame for this. And I don't want to get too political, but it's the reality of it. We are all to blame. We all should take some accountability. And now, go about the world very differently, have more compassion, acknowledge people more, smile at them, just give compliments and for no reason at all, and just spread the love, spread the peace. That's our duty. And, you know, that's why I'm doing this work. That's what it's all about. Because you never know, you know, some lonely person somewhere, they could be the next psychopath. And just you showing them some love, some consideration, it could stop them from doing something horrific. So we all have a duty. We are all accountable as a community. That's how it's going to have to be if we want to improve things. We all have to think that way, regardless of what we've already experienced, what's already been done to us. That's how it has to be. That being said, though, you know, it doesn't mean that you go back to the narcissist and it's all kumbaya, let's all hold hands, let's all love each other. It can't ever be like that. Never. Because there's still a danger. And they will likely never take accountability. You will do that, but they won't. They're never going to move on from it. They're always going to be bitter and resentful. And yes, I do believe that is their karma. But it takes time. It's a long process, and right now, you may want to be angry, you may want to have these fantasies about just destroying them. As long as you don't let it lead to behaviors. Don't ever let yourself become like them. Albert says you have a good accent. Thanks, I appreciate it. But this isn't really my normal voice. I mean, you know, because I'm being gang-stalked and harassed by people, I'm a bit on edge. And when you're experiencing anxiety, you know, it's very demasculating. So it increases the pitch of your voice and it even speeds up the tempo. My natural voice, it's a lot more alpha. It's more monotone, slower, calmer. You will hear that more in my pre-recorded videos, you know, when I'm more in a calm state when I'm in my room. The gang stalkers and abusers, they're very fascinated with the effects that the abuse has on you. They often study this. It's very fascinating to them. And also they can't understand it, they can't figure it out, because in their minds, they're not doing anything. So in their minds, they're thinking, what's happening to you?
Hi, my friend. Hi. Hello.
Got all these kids coming after me now. Look at these. They've been chasing me all day for hours. But at least, they're not gang stalkers. They're just playing around, so I don't really mind them too much.
Hey, sir. It's so hot right here.
Yeah, it's very hot. Lorraine Dan says they want you to jump straight into a relationship so you don't feel their coldness. That's what they want. They want it to be instant, so that you don't have any time to see all of the red flags. And this is a big thing with like arranged marriages. I'm someone who's all about promoting marriage, relationships, families, of course. That's what the world should be. But with someone who's of equal worth to you. Not someone who's going to be a nightmare to you and you're just going to end up getting divorced anyway. This is why you need to take things slowly, get to know the person first. And another big problem. This is a big problem, and I don't know how we solve this one. But the reality is, sex can make or break a marriage. It can. And yet, if we're talking about something where it's like, if we want to have like respect in relationships, and we want purity, like saving yourself for marriage. But then what if you end up marrying someone and they were pure, they preserve themselves for you, but then you get married and there's no sex? Well, the sex is it's no good. It's a real problem. So how do we work that out? Because that can make or break a marriage. Sex is very important, we're sexual beings. So I don't know what to say about that. I haven't got all the answers. But that's definitely a thing. And it's a very common thing that we see everywhere, is that men, they want like a young woman who's pure, but even when they get that woman and they marry her and she's all theirs, their eyes are looking everywhere else. They don't want to have sex with her. They're looking at all of the hoes. It's the same thing that happens every time. And I've seen that in my own family. And often it's the same thing with women. They say they want a nice guy. Even when they get married, they're fantasizing about all of the bad boys who don't want to commit. This is it. I guess, there has to be some kind of balance somewhere. I guess that must be it. But then also, women don't want to feel like they're being taken advantage of. Neither do men. Men don't want to feel like they got the short end of the stick. It's one of those things, it's highly debatable, controversial. I don't know what the answers are. I don't know. And I don't know which one is the narcissist in these situations. And to be honest, there isn't much demand for this topic on my channel anyway, so that's probably why I don't know too much about it, because otherwise, if I took the time to do the research, I would come out with some answers, with some solutions for that problem. Because I know it is something that we all experience. And I'm sure, we've been on both sides of it. Of course we have. I mean, let's keep it real. At some point, we may have been with someone who was very nice, very kind, loving, compassionate, but it was boring. It wasn't exciting, it wasn't a thrill. And that doesn't always mean that you're damaged goods. As humans, we want to have a thrill. We want to have some excitement. And no one is entirely pure. We all have some issues. That's a normal part of life. So, whatever way you look at it, I mean, but you know, it can be a real crushing experience for you if you've never had that adventure. And then later in life, you know, you really feel like you've just never lived. And I think, you know, that's the thing for all of us, is that we have to be adventurous. And we have to bring that into our relationships in some sort of way. It can't just be all or nothing. Because this is the thing, you know, it breeds injustice, resentment, when it's either one way or the other. These days it is going a bit too far one way. So it does have to come back the other way a lot. Just in my perspective. And you know, it's what a lot of people are saying. There is way too much freedom in the world today. There really is. And yet at the same time, this freedom, as we call it, is a result of extensive brainwashing. '77 live viewers, give this a thumbs up if it's vibed with you. Deborah Roll says, our bodies were not designed for ongoing extreme stress. That's exactly right. I mean, as Kevin from the Royal We has mentioned in one of his videos, in our evolution, our bodies are designed to run away from, as an example, a bear for maybe a few seconds, a few minutes at best. It's not designed for 24 hours a day harassment. And yet they make it out like we're weak, we're not good enough. Our bodies were never designed for that in the first place. So they're the ones who are delusional. They're the ones who are weak because they're running from reality. Our bodies were not designed for that. So of course it's going to affect you. And even back in the day, our ancestors, of course it affected them for those few seconds running away from a bear. Their heart was going crazy. It targeted their nervous system. They were in panic. They were not going through anything like what we're going through. All of this COVID harassment. We're stronger than them. We're stronger than our cavemen ancestors. And we shouldn't be. We shouldn't have to be. I am a bit worried though, standing under the sun all of this time. It's difficult to find some shade here. I don't want to lose my glow. You know, I've got such a beautiful complexion, being of a mixed origin. Yeah, I think I'm going to put some more sun lotion on now. Thank you for the donation, Samira Al-Kandusi. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. I appreciate it. But yeah, I hope it's been helpful for you. Sharing this information, giving you some tips on healing. I'm just giving you the scope of the healing process, where we're trying to get to. At some point, we should want to achieve indifference, but also a level of compassion from afar, because that is detachment. If you can be compassionate, but also indifferent, that is detachment. You're coming back to yourself. You're still holding on when you're still bitter or resentful. That's how they want you to be, because they know they're always going to be that way. They are never going to move on. They're always going to be like that. But yeah, give this video a thumbs up. Let's work together to get this out there. Make sure people can see it and learn from this. If you're new here, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go live several days a week. And comment down below. In between videos, we have this community discussion. You can ask questions, share your experiences. You can also follow my daily blog posts or book a one-on-one with me. Go to my website, it's narcsurvivor.co.uk. And there's the Facebook group. It's called Narc Survivor, new videos on there every day. And we just reached 100 members. Thank you all for supporting it. And yeah, looking forward to see more growth in the future. And on TikTok and Instagram, it's Narc Survivor Coaching. I just put some new content on my Instagram. You can see me going down by the lake and in the waterfall. Just enjoy my free time when I'm not working. But yeah, that's it for this one. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate your support. And I hope you learned a lot from this. You all have a great day. And I'll talk to you soon.